Today, are you neglecting your wife and your children? Get that trash out of your life. You have legacies to build. We grew that business from 3.4 million to 17.1. Horsepower, not horse shit. You want to be the parent that's an ally. They don't need another friend. Not everybody's cup of whiskey. Toughest advice for the toughest businessmen. Be relentless. I had a private consultation with a gentleman about 6 years ago. It was a full-day private consultation. The particular man, he was in the insurance business, and he, relatively successful, 6, maybe 7-figure guy. Very, very successful as a business owner, as an agency owner. He had been a member of my newsletter. He had been a part of my masterminds, and I did a day of private consulting with him. And this is going back 6 years when I also was still in the insurance business. And I'll never forget it. We sat down, and he was here in Perth at the Best Western conference room. And we were sitting down, and he was all excited about, he had been sending me stuff a few days before for the private day consultation. And I was reviewing it, and it was all marketing. It was all advertising. It was all anything to make more money. What's the hack for this? What's the shortcut for this? What do you think of these phone scripts and on and on? It was all about more money, more leads, more phone calls, more success in terms of growth. And, I listened to him talk for the first hour, and he was talking about they sold this much and they sold this much and they had this many leads and this website was doing this and this funnel was successful and this funnel wasn't successful. And then finally, when I came back from grabbing a coffee, I don't know what it was, but before I sat down and joined him at the conference table again, it was just the two of us, I said, I really think that you're neglecting your wife and your children. That's what I fucking well think. And he was stunned. He was stunned. He had come a long way. He had flown into Perth. He had traveled from the airport. He had spent close to $20,000 in fees for the one day, for the 8-hour day. He was pretty pumped about the next fix or the next hack or the next marketing idea that I could dispense to him. But I don't think for a second that he ever thought that Yours Relentless was going to call him out on what he really needed to work on. He didn't need the next hack. He didn't need more marketing experience. He didn't need more advertising or promotional ideas or ahas. He needed to look at the man in the glass in the bathroom and realize that he was indeed neglecting his wife and children. And this wasn't something new. This had been going on for probably a decade to 12 years. Here's a guy with 3 young children, 4, probably 7 and 11. Wonderful kids, a blessing. Children are a gift. He had a phenomenal wife. This was his second wife, who believed in him, who was everything he said his first wife wasn't. She took interest in his entrepreneurship. She supported his 60, 70, and 80-hour work weeks. She supported his dreams, his goals. I love it. The guy was a rainmaker. The guy's a builder. I love it. She seemed like the perfect partner for him. And partner is the word. She seemed like the perfect secret weapon for a guy like that. So 3 great children, a wonderful best friend, Queen. And here he is talking about how he can expand a business, buy another location, make another $1 million. It's going to take another, 10 hours, 20 hours a week of work. But, that's what his goals were. And meanwhile, all around him, for basically the second time in his adult life, the kingdom is crumbling. And it took a fresh set of eyes. That's what I do. That's why men pay me what they pay me. That's what my newsletter subscribers pay me for, to open their eyes. That's what my mastermind members pay me, to open up their eyes. I'm a fresh set of eyes. I'm a candid, unvarnished, accurate thinking set of eyes. If I work with you, that means I like you. And if I like you, I'm clear as kind. I'll tell you the truth, always, without exception. That's the only professional rule I have, is I will always tell you the brutal, honest truth. Good, bad, and ugly. So that's what this gentleman had paid for. So the king was not rising, so the kingdom was dying. And he didn't even notice it, because when your kingdom dies, it dies a little bit at a time, each day, each hour, each time you miss dinner, each time you don't work out and train, each time you don't, talk to your kids, each time you're buried in your phone, each time you check out and watch 7 hours of NFL football on a Sunday instead of, the one game. That's how kingdoms crumble. So his second marriage and his relationships with his children, it was crumbling in front of him. He didn't even see it. So after I knocked him out of his, after I woke him up, he tried to explain himself out of it, right? He's like, what are you talking about? I provide my wife and my children with everything. We have vacations, we have money, we have cars, we have a nice home. I said, we have everything, but we don't have you. We don't have you. He's like an NFL coach or a college 1 division coach, or like I was when I was coaching hockey pre-family days, where when we're there, we're not there. When we're at work, we feel guilty we're not home. When we're at home, we feel guilty we're not working. So here's a guy who's financially independent, and he's looking to tackle more, make more money for a wife that he never sees and children he never spends any time with. That's called child neglect. That's called neglecting your secret weapon wife. And we have amazing support systems. We have beautiful women that believe in us, that believe in our dreams, believe in our mission, believe in our goals. But that, you just can't simply neglect a human being and be buried in your phone and be constantly somewhere else mentally than where you're supposed to be, and expect that person to stay with you a long time, or expect them not to check out and leave. So it actually took a second divorce to wake this guy up for good. And I don't know, the situation with the kids, I said, the only thing your 3 kids want, I said, they don't want any vacations. They don't want trips to Turks and Caicos. They don't want more trips to Disney. They just want their dad. They want you to be there. When you're there, they want you to be there. When they come home from school or they have dinner at night, they want you to be there. 2 words, be there. Kids need their father. I mean, 99% of kids, I work with them all the time now. I work with kids now in sports through my coaching and hockey programs, recreational stuff. I'm not coaching the top elite athletes anymore, and I'm enjoying it. I'm in with kids from all walks of life, and I love it. But the number one thing I notice is most children are underfathered. And whose fault is that? Is that the fault of the mother? I think it's the fault of the father. If the king does not rise, the kingdom dies. So I run into kids all the time, age 5, age 7, age 12, age 14, age 20, age 23, underfathered. So he was doing a job on these kids by not spending any time with them. And when he was home, he wasn't there. So when I see neglect, you talk about neglect, you think of kids not having food to eat. You think of them living in a house with no heat. You think about, abuse. But I think about what 99% of businessmen, I think about the 99% that neglect their wife and their children without even knowing it, without even being mentally aware that you're just not there. You're just not mentally present. And that's why I'm so passionate about what I teach. That's why I'm so violently opposed to cell phone junkies and cell phone addiction and social media junkies and social media addiction. That's why I'm so passionate about teaching, the first 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours of your day. That's your deep work magic time. The first hour of the day belongs to you. You have your writing, your walking, your water, your reading. Why do you think I emphasize getting these things done the first few hours in the day? Number one, mentally, that's your best. You're your very best. Your magic time is 1 to 5 hours and you're done. For most of you guys, it's 1 to 2 hours max. That's when you do your deep work, your important work. That's why I say, no cell phones in bedrooms, no TVs, no laptops, no technology in a bedroom. A bedroom is for sleeping and it's for connection with your wife, period. That's it. It's not for catching up on emails. It's not for Netflix. It's not for texting. It's not for waking up and seeing what's happening with the Biden administration. It's for sleeping and it's for connecting with your best friend's secret weapon. No technology ever. There should never, ever, ever be any technology anywhere near your bathroom and your bedroom. But why do I teach that? Why do I teach win the morning? Why do I teach own the morning, conquer the chaos of the afternoon after lunch? And then why do I preach and live investment of your time with the most important people in your life, dinner time on, 5 o'clock on, family dinner, no technology, talking to your wife, talking to your kids, coaching, whatever it is. Why am I so obsessed and so passionate about those things? Is because anything less is neglecting your wife and your children. Date your wife. Date your wife. I don't give a shit whether you've been married for 10 years or 40 years or 51 years like my parents. Date your wife. Date your wife. She's not your fucking servant and she's not your fucking housekeeper. She's your queen. Date your wife. Every Wednesday night, Krista and I, she decides where we go. We always have dinner. We always have dinner somewhere else. We get a babysitter every Wednesday night. It's no different than any other night of the week. I have hockey, I have chess, we have horse riding, we have date night on Wednesdays. I date my wife. I didn't used to date my wife. I took her for granted. Now I date my wife. We've been married for 11 glorious years. We've been together for 15. I date my wife. And what do we do on these dates? Sometimes we walk around, sometimes we go for a walk, sometimes we just hold hands. Most of the time we just talk about what's happening in each other's lives. I date my wife. I don't neglect her. I don't ignore her. I don't take her for granted. I don't abuse her. I don't misuse her. I date my wife. Also with my daughter, and we have one 9-year-old, is I have time during the week that I spend specifically with her. First of all, Krista and I, every second night, I read and put her to bed. So that's reading, that's talking, and that's prayer. So every second night, 4 nights a week, 3 nights a week, whatever it is, I get to end the day by reading with my daughter, prayer, talking about important stuff. And then every single day, I drive my daughter to school. Every single day, I pick her up. Every single day there's something on, whether it's whether it's going to the equestrian barn, whether it's skating. I teach her power skating. I'm her hockey coach. If I'm not coaching it, I'm driving her to it. And this is scheduled because I'm not going to neglect my child. And I see lack of time as neglect. If I'm not going to be there, then I'm neglecting my child. The only thing that she needs is she needs me to be there. She doesn't need a jet ski behind me. She doesn't need one of these boats. She doesn't even need a nice house. Kids don't give a shit about any of that stuff. They don't care any of the stuff. If you have it, they think everybody else has it. If you live in a big house, they think everybody else lives in a big house. If you drive an expensive car, they think everybody drives an expensive car. But they don't give a shit. I've learned that as a father. It doesn't matter. But they really, really, really care whether I'm not there. Be there for your children. Be there for your grandchildren. So the question you really have to think about is, am I neglecting my wife in any way? And am I neglecting my children in any way? Well, Michael, my kids are off to college. They're great kids. Do you talk to them every day? Do you pick up the phone and FaceTime them every single day? Do they know that the door is always open no matter what? Do you know all their friends at college? Do you know who they're dating, who they're spending time with? Do you know what classes they're taking? Do you know where they are at a specific time? A lion does. A badass does. A champion does. Or are they mature and now they've grown up on you, so you don't need to be there? When you're at home, are you mentally here? Or are you like a needy child, buried and addicted in your phone? Buried and addicted in your phone. Texting your wife who's in the next room. Or your wife's watching one thing on the television and you're watching another in the laptop. That's roommates with rings. That's roommates with rings. Date your wife. Leave her notes on the kitchen table when she gets up in the morning. Put notes in her car that say how much you love her and appreciate her. Surprise her with Post-it notes in her lunch or in her shoe or under her pillow. Do your gratitude together every single night before bed. 3, 4, 5 things that you're grateful for. Date your wife. Are you neglecting your wife or are you honoring her? Are you honoring her? And when it comes down to neglecting your children, I'll tell you the number one way you can do it. If you're not showing up as your best self every day, and this is a challenge as a man, if you're not showing up as the king in your family every day, you are indeed neglecting your children. If your children look up, what do they see? When your children look to you, what do they see? What do they hear? What behavior do they see? What do your children see? Do they see a man that's chasing his next championship? Do they see a father who's chasing his dreams, his goals? Do they see a man on a mission? You can smell, you can hear, you can feel. I can see it in the eyes of a man who's on a mission, man or woman. The attitude, the edge, the aggression, the passion, the obsession. Is that what your children, that's what your teenagers, that's what your adult children see in you? Do they see a man on a mission? Or do they see somebody who's phoned it in? What's the next goal? Do they see somebody who's chasing the next championship? All my daughter has seen in 9 years is her psychopathic dad chasing the next championship. That may not be your cup of whiskey, but it sure as shit is mine. As soon as I put that Barclay Cup down and I celebrate it for 48 hours, I turned to my daughter and my wife, I said, what's next? Done. What's next? I want my daughter to see me striving. I want her to see me struggling. I want her to see me working. I want her to see a man that is determined to become the best version of himself every single day. I want my daughter to see me transform in front of her eyes every single year. If I do a job of growing, if I'm dedicated to personal development, if my ass is in the gym, if I'm walking, if I'm drinking water, if I'm reading good books, I'm going to seminars, all of these things, personal development. If I do a great job of personal development, I kill myself, I kill my identity every night, and I wake up brand new day. I kill the old me every night. I wake up, brand new person. By the end of the year, I should be transformed. Transformed as a husband, father, entrepreneur, community leader. That's what I want my kid to see. I want her to see somebody who's reaching for the stars. I want her to see somebody who's not afraid of failure. I want her to see somebody who's not afraid of embarrassment. I want her to see somebody who's not afraid to take the road less traveled. I want her to see an example of what a badass world builder looks like. I look around, I see the 99%. I want my daughter to see me and say, my dad does the exact opposite. My dad does the exact opposite. I want my daughter to see a man who's fit, a man who's healthy, a man who eats clean, a man who doesn't consume alcohol, none at all, doesn't do any drugs, doesn't sit his ass and watch 7 hours of TV. Our TV's never on, ever, when our daughter is not sleeping at night. We'll watch maybe a 45-minute show. I want her to see an extreme hard worker. I just want to be a contagious, positive example. If I do those every day, then I'm not neglecting my child. If I phone it in, I mail it in, or if I check out, I sedate, I medicate, or I just don't show up for my wife or my child, then I am neglecting my family. You can buy whatever the hell you want for them. You can, buy houses and take vacations and buy boats and go skiing and go all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to, do your wife and children see you pushing yourself to extremes to become the best badass version of yourself? Does your wife now look at you as a badass? Do your children, your teenagers, or your adult children, do they say, man, what's happened to dad? Guy's a badass. Does your wife think you're now relentless? Do your children, your teenagers, your adult children, your grandchildren, do they think dad's relentless? The guys who are buying into what I'm selling, they certainly hear that all the time. They're losing 20 pounds. They're losing 40 pounds. They're losing 60 pounds. They're losing 90 pounds. They're getting up and owning their day. They're getting up and playing offense. They're getting up and they're praying. They're getting up and they're walking. They're getting up and they're reading. They're getting up and they're drinking water. They're getting up and they're writing. They're owning their mornings, and they're winning their mornings. And then in the afternoon, they're conquering the chaos. They're returning phone calls. They're answering emails. They're answering texts. And then at night, they're dedicating the most valuable time to the people that matter the most, your wife and your children. Those are the people that matter the most. And they're present. They're locking away their phones when they get home. They're not touching them till the next day at noon, and they're fully present. They're basically doing the opposite of 99% of the other ordinary, average, and mediocre husbands and fathers. There's no secret. The secret is there is no secret. If you're not showing up as the best version of yourself every single day, if that's not motivation enough, just remember your children and your wife are watching. And you can't snow job them. You can't cut corners with them. There's no hack to earning their respect. You're either chasing your next dream or you're not. You're either serious about losing the weight or you're not. You're either serious about walking and reading and growing your business or you're not. They see either a badass or a fraud. And it's nothing you can say. It's all in how you behave. It's all your behavior. So what are your children seeing? Are they seeing a man that's swinging for the fences? Or are they seeing a man who's scared and home in the fetal position, afraid of the next recession, afraid of what's happening in the White House, worried about what some Hollywood celebrity said? Or do they see a man who's connected with his queen, connected with his children, and makes an impact in his own house? The most important house for Michael McLean is that house. That's the house I have control in. That's the house I have a voice in. That's the house where I'm the king. That's the house where I have a vote. Not these other houses. I don't distract myself with childish nonsense. That's the place where I can have an impact. So, are you neglecting your wife? Are you neglecting your children? And if you are, stop it and start showing up as the best version of yourself. If you won't do it every day for yourself, if you won't build a badass world of autonomy and control and independence, if you won't build a world of personal sovereignty for yourself, then on the tough days, do it for your queen. Do it for your children, do it for your teenagers, do it for your adult children, whatever it takes, but show up. Show up, okay? Show up, be the man. The kingdom dies when the king does not show up. Very, 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 very critical. The kingdom dies when the king does not rise. So, believe it or not, I've switched the date from my training, and I changed the training to, I have a special webinar training coming up, how to create the ultimate badass millionaire lifestyle business. Amazing training, all new, free, no cost to you. I switched it yesterday till this Tuesday. Whole bunch of guys had conflicts, so I'm going to change it back to where it was on the Thursday. That's it. That's all. I'm not moving it again, but it's going to be Thursday, next Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. So exactly a week from when I postponed it. The Tuesday doesn't work for a lot of guys on my list. I get it. I listen. So we're going to do it Thursday. If Thursday doesn't work, you can watch the replay. It's free. There's no cost. If you haven't got a spot, you can click on the link below. That's next Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, how to create the ultimate badass millionaire lifestyle business. If you don't have freedom, if you don't have wealth, if you don't have fun, if you don't have personal sovereignty, you don't have a business. You have a high-paying job at best, okay? I talked about it yesterday with my values. My values rule my businesses and what business I get into. Everything that I say yes to, which is almost nothing, where's the profit in it? Number one, if somebody brings me a business proposition, where's the profit in it? Number one. Number two, is this going to be good for my health, mental and physical? Or is this going to hurt my mental and physical health? Three, okay, is this going to be linked to my personal happiness? Am I going to have fun doing this? If I'm not going to have some fun, I'm not going to do it. I coach hockey, I have fun. I sold insurance, I had fun. I do these videos, I have fun. I do my masterminds, I have fun. I like writing books, I have fun. So profit, where's the profit in this? I'm not going to do it. I'm not running a soup kitchen. I'm not running a charity. If there's not maximum profit in it, it's a no. If it's going to be a negative on my physical health or my mental health, some businesses are, it's a no. And if it's not going to be fun, it's a no. And the fourth thing is, whatever I'm doing, can I give my clients or customers a 10x bottom line result? I'm not going to sell a product. I'm not going to make a product. I'm not going to stand behind a product. I don't care if it's a health product or a pizza or a book. If it can't 10x the people I'm selling it to, I want hands off, nothing to do with it. That's my integrity. So I'm governed by the values, and that's what I'm going to talk about this next Thursday, is how to run your business by your personal values. Don't do things that you don't agree with. Don't take on things that are bad for your health. Don't take on responsibilities that are bad for your physical and mental health. Don't take on soup kitchen jobs that have no profit. Don't take on things that you don't believe in. Don't sell things you don't believe in. That's what we'll talk about this coming Thursday. So that's it. Mark your calendar. That's written in stone, like the Fred Flintstone. It's written in stone this time. And that's it. Remember to hug your wife and children. Tell them how much you love them and how much they mean to you. Nothing's more important. 2 words that changed my life. 2 words that can change your life. Be relentless.